Happy Wine Wednesday. Whoops, there's my seahorse. Happy Wine Wednesday, y'all. I've got a sea dragon in my hair.
Yeah.
Whoops. Happy Wine Wednesday, everyone. Hope you're having a fabulous week. Sorry we're a little bit late. We were chit-chatting ahead of time. We've got lots of fun things to talk about, but nothing super important, right? So if you guys have questions, Happy Wine Wednesday. Whoops, there's my seahorse. Happy Wine Wednesday. Somebody turn off their echo. What I was going to say is, if you have questions about seahorses, saltwater tanks, or just chemistry, any questions, we're here as a community to support each other, and we've got some things to talk about. But if you have questions, we'll switch very quickly to your questions. If you didn't catch last week, we had an amazing guest on, and what was his name, Sophie?
Rick.
And we did not share his social media profiles. Bad on me. So we will be sharing that in a post later. Check it out on Facebook. And from now on, we'll make sure to let you guys know where to find those guests afterwards. As you all know, I'm stressed out at work. So Sophie's learning the ranks and going to pick up my slack very soon. But for tonight, I got Sophie, Ray, and Holly with me, and we're just here to chat as a community. So happy Wine Wednesday. And where do we start, guys? Holly, I think we were talking about something ahead of time.
Oh, yeah.
What's going on with you?
Well, my seahorses are getting old. They're all about 5 years old and older. So I'm starting to see signs with, a few of them that, their lifespan's running shorter. So I was just talking about Dandy, who's almost 7 years old. He's my oldest, and he's always been handicapped.
Mm-hmm.
And he's still eating, but on his own terms. Like sometimes I was telling Kelly he'll like nap through dinner time, and won't eat dinner. But most of the time, every meal he's making an attempt to eat and eating something, every day, usually a couple meals. And then Sadie, who's 5 years old, a little bit over 5 years old now, she's younger than Dandy. But I was just saying I may be losing her first because she has stopped eating now altogether in the last 2 days. I mean, she might surprise me and eat again because she was eating intermittently. She like skipped a day or two a few days ago, and then all of a sudden she ate a big lunch. So, but when they stop eating, in my experience, that usually means, their times.
But again, for anybody new that's just coming to the channel or just starting with seahorses, Holly, your seahorses are how old? 7 years? I mean,
well, Dandy's nearing 7 years. He's 6.5. Sadie just turned 5 2 weeks ago.
Well, I mean, still, we're talking 5 years down the line. So obviously, this is a success story for Sadie. But when they do reach that point, for whatever reason, Holly's still keeping up her tank and doing everything she's always done, but they just get old, right? I mean, they do. We do too. And it's like dog years kind of thing where it's multiplied. But bottom line is, you watch your parents do the same thing where they, as they get older, they don't eat as much, and then whatever. And it's just signs of getting old. Like it's not a crisis. You're not going to do anything, correct?
No, I'm not going to treat Sadie at this point because I feel like it would just stress her out.
Yes.
And I mean, I lost her mom in the same situation and tried to treat her, and it didn't go well. It didn't help, and it actually made things worse for her, I think.
Sure.
And so
and when you're talking,
I think Sadie's just decided, for whatever reason, she's done and she's ready to go.
Yes.
She's acting healthy still. You wouldn't know anything's wrong with her.
Yes.
Look at her. She's still getting around the tank and she looks good. She
Doesn't
doesn't
have
have
a
any signs of
thing.
anything
No.
wrong,
No.
but she
Oh,
just doesn't want to eat.
gotcha.
So I'm just going to say, okay, Sadie, that's your decision.
You missed my joke, Holly. I said she
What?
doesn't have pain. That she's
No,
like.
no, no.
Um, so what happens with you, Holly? You
Mhm,
in particular, once your seahorses do go to seahorse heaven or whatever they do?
mhm.
Like, are you gonna
Well,
break and go on
the
vacations and
well, the first plan is to consolidate the tanks.
gotcha?
As
Yeah,
soon as I lose someone, I'll be down to 5 seahorses. I have 6 right now. I have 4 in one tank and 2 in the other. So the plan is first one to go, and I don't think another one will be far behind, honestly. I think it might be Sadie and then Dandy back to back or vice versa.
they don't like to live alone. So
So everyone else will move in, with whoever's left. They'll all live together and I'll shut down the other tank, probably clean up that equipment, store it for a while for emergencies, and then once everyone's gone, I'll be taking a break from seahorses. So, like we talked about before, I can travel and do other things. And I'm thinking if I do get back into seahorses someday, I'll probably do it on a smaller scale and just keep a pair
yeah.
and not bother with fry raising or any of the.
So and to each their own. I wanted to just
Mhm.
say a couple of things about what she just shared. She's kept seahorses for a long time, right? And had really successful experiences and then really bad
It's
experiences.
been wonderful.
Yeah, but they're getting older. She's not getting
And
older.
I'm getting older.
No, she's getting younger. But if she wants to take vacations and stuff, the other thing I did want to say is we're making strides and bounds. That's not the phrase. What is it? We're making
Leaps and bounds.
and bounds. Thank you. In handling seahorse vacations,
Mhm,
meaning, the we can actually go on vacation and not
mhm.
worry about our seahorses by using automation, cameras, babies or seahorse sitters. There's lots of ways you can go on vacations and travel when you keep seahorses. I do, but
Mhm.
Holly is a seahorse mommy, so they're her babies.
And I have some off the wall homemade equipment and things that
Right.
I don't expect everybody, a normal just person off the street that's a pet sitter, to learn all my systems and how everything works. I've got 2 big tanks. I've got chillers and generators and all kinds of crazy stuff you would have to learn to do the job right.
Good.
So, like I said, if I do it on a smaller scale someday, maybe just have a smaller tank and 2 seahorses. If I do go, it'd be easier for someone to manage in my absence.
The opposite of me, who expected my stepmother to take care of 7 tanks, 2 fry tanks, hatcheries, and everything else. I was like,
Mhm.
here, look, this is how you do it. Do it. But to each their own. And no, everything you're saying is absolutely correct. And you've done so many good things, not only for your seahorse tanks, but for the community in general. And you're not done yet. You still got your
No,
seahorse.
and right now is their time, and I expect maybe at max they might have another 3 years left. Some of them
Yep.
probably max, but I'm expecting I'm thinking, around 7. Maybe somebody will make it to 7. I'm not expecting all of them to. I'll be surprised if Dandy does, but he's surprised me so far.
Right. Right.
And he just keeps hanging in. like I said, he's slowing down, but he still makes the effort to eat.
Sure.
He hasn't given up on that. So I'm like, he might be weaker and take more naps and, not be as active, but he might end up outlasting the others just for that reason alone.
Right. I'm getting my lion's mane going on. Sorry guys, my hair, it was hurting my head. Anyways, no, but I mean, you've done such a good job with them, period. And, as they reach older age, they're happy, healthy, and,
Yeah, now I just
do
play
their
it
thing.
by ear and let them live their lives. If Sadie's decided she doesn't want to eat anymore, I'm not going to try to force feed her. I'm not going to try to put her through, stressful situations in hospital tanks and freshwater dips and all that.
Well,
I'm just going to let
saying
her
that,
do her
guys,
thing.
but that's the difference. Is I tried to explain this to Dan when he would tell me to do certain things, and I tried to explain to him that it's very different. What a commercial breeder with thousands of seahorses can do versus someone with a tank of 2 to 6 or a couple tanks or
Mm-hmm.
whatever. And I had multiple tanks, but there were only pairs in each, right? Because I was trying to breed.
Mm-hmm.
So, when you say take one of these seahorses out of two and do all these, dips and everything else, that sounds, it just depends on where you're at. If they're your only two seahorses, obviously you want to do everything you can to save them. And these procedures do
Mm-hmm.
work, right?
And if they're
Yeah,
younger, yeah,
right.
like when the seahorses
Yeah,
were younger, they went through treatments and there was successful treatments and there was not successful treatments. But I just feel like now at this age,
right.
even
No,
if I were to treat them, they probably still don't have that much time left, and it wouldn't enhance the days
sure.
they have
No, no,
remaining.
no. I'm agreeing with you 100%. I was merely speaking up to say for
Mhm,
someone new,
mhm,
you would think differently. Because if your seahorses are only
mhm.
one or two and they stop eating,
Yeah, if they're
then there's a
young.
problem. Something's wrong with the tank.
Mhm,
Something's going on. In Holly's case, they're just elderly seahorses, right? And they're whatever. But I just
yeah.
wanted to make sure anybody knew that
Mhm,
knew that you know if you're in a different situation, here we are to help you figure out how to
mhm,
treat, give you all the percentages for dosing and all that good stuff in order to save and
mhm,
help your seahorses if you're having trouble. But there is old age and it just happens. And, I think Holly's given all of them a good run. And, I think she'll be
mhm.
back, you guys. And she's not gone yet. I'm absolutely sure.
Yeah, it'll be like I said, it'll be a while. I mean, but it is what it is. We'll just see how it plays out. But I still have, like I said, there's 6 right now. So if I lose one or two, I still have
Yes.
seahorses. You know,
And
so
younger ones.
they're still getting all their care, and Sadie, of course, she still gets my
Oh,
attention. And today was tank cleaning day, and she knows the rigmarole. They go to one side of the tank while I clean. And Dandy, I picked him up and carried him, and he's so cute. He used to, when he was young, he was my seahorse that would feign
yes.
death whenever I was going to handle him. He would throw himself on the floor and freeze, and act dead.
Heart
And now
attack.
he's so nonchalant. He just lets me pick him up. I picked him up out of the water. I put him down on the other side of the tank, And I even put his tail around a thing and he cooperated and let me hitch him. And he'd never do that before. He's lost, and I don't know, maybe it's because he's getting older and weaker, but he doesn't use the vice grip with his tail on my finger
Yeah.
anymore. And I don't know if it's just he's so calm and nonchalant now, or maybe he's honestly weaker and he can't do the vice grip. I don't know which,
I tend to
but
think that they get
calm.
used to you, they get comfortable,
Hmm.
and then they just don't care as much.
He's yeah. I think he's really comfortable with me now. I've done nothing but take care of him and not hurt him. So he knows the drill. I help him out when he can because it's hard for him to get
Right.
around. Swimming, it always has been because of his handicap. He has something neurologically wrong. He can't swim
Right.
right. But now that he's getting older, it's gotten even worse to where he pretty much stays on the one side of the tank. He used to swim back and forth and exercise himself every day and practice swimming. And now he'll move from one hitch to another on that side of the tank, but I rarely see him go all the way across to the other side
Well, the
now.
thing is, though, he's had a really happy life, and most
Mhm.
in many other situations he wouldn't have. Like in the ocean, he wouldn't
Mhm.
have. There's no way he would survive.
Oh no. No
In
way would he have survived.
in most other people's tanks, he wouldn't have survived. So you have given him this
Mhm.
amazing life, and I just think that's really cool.
Mhm.
But Sophie,
Mhm.
what's going on with
Mhm.
your seahorses? Do we have babies yet? Where are we at?
I do not have any fry right now. So after I had the last batch that died, I don't know if I ever said this live. But I had my
Mhm.
batch that died within 2 days, like
I think you did.
complete, like a
Okay.
mass death. Um, they didn't. I didn't have any more fry, but honestly, I'm not. I'm not too sad about that, just because I am going on vacation on Friday. I'm leaving on Friday for 2 weeks. Um, so I'm not gonna be able, like, my pet sitter can only do so much.
Right.
It's like all the
Yeah.
other pets in the house too to take care of, right? Um,
Mhm.
so I don't think Fitz is pregnant right now, but even if he was, I think I would just kind of let them get sucked up by the filter. Just because,
Mhm.
again,
Oh, don't say that live. Oh my goodness. Go on.
Julia.
um, I I don't think I can ask her to collect the fry one by one, and then it's too much. So I don't think he is pregnant though right now. So none of that will have to happen. Just
Yes. And I think
um,
we talked last week or the week before, one of those weeks, where, if you keep having um, fry that aren't sustainable, or that don't thrive,
Mhm.
we started to talk about what to do, right? Like maybe either new blood or live feeds
yeah.
or
So what
look.
I've been doing lately is that I've been trying to fatten my seahorses. Um, so I have not acquired any live foods, but I have been trying to feed them
Extra.
extra in a day. Um, Obviously, I stop when they get to the point where they don't want to eat anymore, because then it's useless.
Yes.
But I do try to feed them more per feeding, so I can fatten them up.
Yes. Do you have a picture of them?
I do not have a picture of them.
You're fired. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. I'm totally kidding. But no, it'd be fun to see, like
Well,
maybe,
okay, I do have pictures. If you want me to send them to my computer, I can do that.
yeah, do that. And or what I was going to say is it'd be cool to do a post. What I used to do is show before and afters. When I was working on something with my seahorses, whatever it might be. If I was trying to color them up, if I was trying to fatten them up, if I was showing, before, during pregnancy, egg bearing, whatever, I'd always do pictures this is what it, started as, this is how it is now, this is the transitionary period, because it's really cool to see, right? It's working. They're getting fatter. All of a sudden they look like little fatties, and they're, instead of being concave, they've got, bulge. I remember my
Yeah.
girls used to literally have fat rolls. My seahorses had fat rolls. Not lately, not the ones I have now, but when I was in my prime breeding, had huge tanks with multiple seahorses. I have pictures where literally you look at a seahorse and usually it's the spines kind of stick out, and whether their stomach is like this or like this, bad, right? It's kind of not smooth. They have spines, they have plates, you guys know. But I have pictures where my seahorses, in between the plates, there'd be like fat rolls. I swear to God, my seahorses had
Yeah.
fat rolls, and they were so fat, which is a good thing. I got good fry out of it, So it's cool to see the before and afters. I know you're sending, so hey, where are you going on vacation?
Pardon?
Where are you going on vacation?
PEI, Prince Edward Island. So I'm going to the coast. I'm really excited. We're doing obviously more scuba diving, and my mom has found someone that will potentially bring us to like an artificial reef that they're building.
Ooh, cool.
Yeah. So I'm really excited for that.
That's awesome. And for anyone out there that is keeping seahorses and wants to go on a vacation, we've talked about it multiple times, but if you're in that place and you have a question about it, there's ways to take care of things while you're on vacation. It's always nerve-wracking, right? I mean, it's always scary. And in Sophie's case, like she said, she's not going to set up more fry tanks or more tanks right before she leaves, which makes sense. But I've left my keeper with fry tanks and adult tanks, differences, and so you can. And now that we've got cameras and FaceTime, I mean, it's just so much simpler to make sure nothing goes wrong. Monitors, if you have monitors.
Yeah.
Comes back.
Well, you got to be lucky enough to have someone willing to to do that for you.
No, Holly, you go to family. They have to do it.
I don't have family here. My family's in Santa Fe.
Yeah. All right. Ray, why are you telling her to put it on bug spray?
Oh, the East Coast is bad for bugs.
Oh, it's horrible.
Aww.
It's horrible.
Do you guys have seahorses up where you are on your coast?
I don't think so.
There are a few areas where there are some, but it's sporadic. It's not like along the eastern seaboard of the U.S.
Yeah, I know, because it's colder there. But I've heard they go as far north as Nova Scotia.
Yeah.
Is that above
PEI
you
and
guys?
Nova Scotia are basically side by side.
Okay.
So
maybe you'll see.
Yeah, well, I'll keep an eye out, and definitely if I see them.
That would be cool if you happen to see some.
You would have to be diving in the right type of areas with the grassy areas, lagoon type things.
Yeah, see, I don't think I will be. But.
Yeah, and
you'll be
not
on
too
the
many
reef.
people scuba dive in areas like that.
In the yucky water.
Right. And that's what's so fascinating is we try to create these really sterile environments for the seahorses when they come from the nastiest areas. I mean, it's just gross, mucky, yucky, ew. But I mean, my dream vacation that I will take someday is to Australia, so that I can, meet Chris Carey in person, meet Steve McLeod in person, and believe you me, they're taking me out on the boat, and I want to dive. I want to see sea dragons in life.
You gotta get your certifications first.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. and I want to see like the spot. Like that's what I would think would be so. Oh, sorry, I forgot my camera was off, guys. That's what I think would be really cool is just to really get down to their starts and see. You know, obviously we've had the discussion before. When we're talking about hobbyists keeping seahorses, we all need to keep captive bred seahorses. We can't do what Mother Nature can do in the ocean, so we'll never provide wild caught seahorses what they need. And they typically, you know, well, they aren't frozen trained, obviously. And there's so many reasons to go captive bred, and it's a better situation for them, and it's a better situation for us to go captive bred. But
Well, and ours generally live longer than they do in the wild
yes,
too.
there's
So we have that.
no, you know, once we figure out how to care for seahorses as individuals, meaning all of you new people out there, you will. And then, you know, once you figure it out and you're keeping your seahorses to old age, they're living way longer and possibly giving you more fry if that's what you want, than they would in the ocean. But I really want to see them in the ocean. You know what I'm saying? Like I want to
Yeah.
see
I
if
just
they
saw
react the same way to me and such.
I just saw someone on Instagram who I think they're in Australia.
Yeah.
And they do like some field work out, and they were finding seahorses along the coasts and stuff, and it looked really interesting. But there's nothing like that near us.
The other really cool thing is all the places that they are found. Like we had Graham Short, who's an ichthyologist, on multiple times on the channel, and he found the Hippocampus japapigu and named it, like in a spot you wouldn't think, right? I don't remember the exact spot. Go read the article. But I mean, they're being found in areas that we didn't realize they were.
Yeah, and there's so many different kinds. We have seahorses here, but they're not right on the coast. They're farther out. They're in deeper, colder water.
Which is another crazy
So,
thing. Like I remember that was Cheryl's thing. Do you guys remember? She wanted more than anything before she retired. She wanted to keep Hippocampus zebra. She really wanted those seahorses, but they
yeah,
were cold water species, very hard
deep
to,
water.
you know, get. And then their care, right?
And not much known
Can
about them because they're so
provide
rare.
the environment that would help them thrive in an artificial environment. I don't know. Nobody knows, you know. People can say they're doing it, but where's the proof, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, it's cool to have ambitions like that, right? Like I wish you'd been able to do it, because if anybody could figure out Hippocampus zebra, it would have been Cheryl. She was the whitey eye queen. She
Oh yeah.
took.
She had that scientific mind. She was good at figuring out stuff. She had a scientific background, and
Yes.
you know,
And
was
I mean,
good stuff.
she was a seahorse whisperer, right? And she would take these species that no one else is keeping. Like I know people keep combs now. I said whitey eye, didn't I? I meant combs. I'm sorry. But people keep combs now. But when I met Cheryl, nobody was keeping combs. I mean, like it wasn't a thing. And she was being successful. And she just had tough love and tricks up her sleeve that really.
Yeah.
I miss Cheryl. Has anybody talked to Cheryl lately?
Yeah, I haven't. I miss her too.
I mean, I think she's still doing well. You know, people's lives take different turns, but I mean, she was just amazing in all the work she did with and for seahorses. So cool.
Yeah, she kept engines, the California seahorses. Yeah, I was talking about earlier. She had engines.
Are the engines the really big ones?
Engines, they're really big. They're like 12-inch seahorses.
Like
They're
on
big
average.
ones.
Because I've had an Erectus get 12 inches. Promise you, I can
Mhm.
show you pictures, but average they're like 7 to 8, maybe 9, right?
Yeah.
So on average they
Mhm.
don't get that large. It takes a really healthy,
Mhm.
specimen to get that large. Whereas the engines, that's the average, right? 12 inches.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can you imagine that tank? Whew, lot of work.
Right. And the babies, I think if I remember her right, the babies are tiny, like they're tinier than erectus
They're like
babies.
redeye
Even
babies.
though the
They're like what?
They're like the redeye fry.
and they're
The
pelagic
biggest
too.
Pelagic.
seahorses start out
Mhm.
the smallest. Why do you think that is?
Mhm.
Just a
Ray, I was looking at
just
you.
an act of nature.
Just Mother Nature's way of doing things.
I mean, do you think it's about,
That's her
well, do
reasons.
you think it's about the area in which they come from? Meaning,
It's probably about survival. I imagine it's because when they're smaller, the seahorse can give birth to more of
sure.
them, and there's probably a better chance that some of them are going to
Well,
make it.
and
Like if they're highly predated, then it would probably pay for them to have more of them. That's my guess.
absolutely. And just like right along those lines, if they're in an area where their growing stages need to happen fast so that they can get big and strong and stealthy and whatever, then growing
Mhm.
faster would make sense. You know what I mean? Does that, I mean, like, I don't
Mhm.
know. Interesting. What are you looking at, Sophie?
No, I was just trying to find my seahorses, but I don't know where they are. I have the pictures though to share if you guys want to see them.
Yeah, sure.
They're not
Yeah.
here, 1 second. I'm gonna share it now. They're not the best, to be honest, just because like they are from the side, so you can't. The seahorses are flat. Hold on. Can you see it? Or Kelly, do you have to?
Yeah, I have to do it. Hang on. Here we go. Whoops.
Yeah, like their sides are just flat, so I'm trying to get them.
Okay, you gotta share it. Click
Yeah.
on it. Yeah, there you go.
So this is Fitz. This is from a little bit ago, right? And you can see that he's
Oh,
pregnant
pretty
here.
boy.
That's what he looks like.
So beautiful. I love his saddles.
Mhm.
Oh,
Yeah, he
Mhm.
has his coloring is nicer than Dot's, to be honest. This is him. This is a more recent picture of him. And
He's a handsome
yes.
boy.
I love his coloring. And then this is Dot.
Aw, what a
See,
cutie.
but look at that. Look at
He still has Siri.
and look
Yes.
at how she blends in. Oh,
Yeah.
that's amazing.
See, I
Yeah.
feel like they both kind of blend in more with the spot that they like to hang out in because
Wherever
Yes.
they're sitting.
yeah,
Yeah.
this is
Their
her
favorite
spot
place.
kind of on these ones, and then if you see the rocks back here,
Yeah, he likes that
yeah,
one.
he stays
Mhm.
there.
Such good proof that, coloration
Yep.
depends on what you put in the tank.
If
But
you
go
look,
on.
actually, oh, well, I'm gonna stop sharing. But if you look at my tank behind me, you can see that I took out a bunch of the macroalgae here. Because
Okay.
today I got annoyed with it because there was way too much of it. Because you see it's really skimpy right now.
Yes.
It's growing so fast that I was like, okay, I'm going to take all of it out and I'll just restart.
Girl, you should be selling it. Sell
Prune it.
No,
Yeah.
no one wants to buy it though. That's the well.
Really?
I asked some fish stores and they were like, no, it's like a weed. We're not taking it. I was like,
Well, yeah. You're not going to sell it to a fish store. I get that. But I mean, like people
yeah, I
beg
don't know.
me for that.
Don't worry. I'll have
There's
like
your
enough
seed.
in like 2 weeks. It'll all be back, and then
That's
I
a
can
good
sell it.
thing. That says your tank is doing really well, and those macros are helping you. And when you do take them out, you're exporting nutrients. So you guys know I'm a macro lover, but I would be selling them. Definitely.
I don't really know anyone around. Like, I could post, but I don't really know where to post them that would actually generate anyone to come buy them.
In Canada here, we don't have sufficient population density to get the numbers of people that might be interested.
So
it's like where I live. I had one of the guys that bought seahorses from me that actually lives in my town. He tried to start a group on Facebook, like an aquarium group for people to trade stuff and that kind of thing. And he got no interest whatsoever. Yeah. We just don't have, like races, we don't have people here that are in the aquarium hobby in general, let alone saltwater.
See, that sucks.
I mean, but look where I live. I'm in the forest. It's hard to get supplies and stuff here. Most stuff I have to order.
Yeah.
I have like a couple fish stores, but the ones that are really good for saltwater are like 2 hours away.
Mm-hmm. I've also noticed though that
the one in Chico that's like 45 minutes from me, they have a saltwater section, but they focus more on reef stuff. And that's what's popular here for saltwater is people are into the corals, the people that are into saltwater at all. So the seahorses haven't been a big hit because people can't keep what they want to keep and the seahorses together.
And that's fair. That's fair. That's a very good, point. But it just sucks hearing it because, like, in my area, I'm in 25 different groups. Most of them are saltwater, not seahorses. But I will post something in there about seahorses, and they're all like just like flies on honey. I mean, they're like, what? You can keep seahorse? Oh, tell me how to.
No, where I live, people are like, are they fish?
Yeah, I've noticed.
Sorry, go ahead, Sophie.
Yeah, you don't. Yeah, basically what Holly was saying, like if I tried to sell the macroalgae, it's a very, for us at least, it's a very specific, like you have a reef tank. It's like you have a tank with corals and with clownfish. And that's.
You guys, I'll be right back. Keep talking.
Yeah. So
that's it. That's it here as well.
I don't know if there's another club going now, Sophie, but it used to be that I would go to the club that was going at the time. This is a long time ago now, but would go to their meetings and would have swaps. So you would trade off your mackerel for something else, or one coral for another type of coral. And we used to have stores that were dedicated basically to salt water, and they had a lot to offer compared to what's available here in London now. But they couldn't survive because there just was not enough demand for it there. And that was in
Toronto.
Pardon? Yeah, you have to go to Toronto now.
There are big stores there that I can. It's just like they're not like, it's not like a community, or at least I'm not really in that community, let's say. Also, Toronto is far, but
I think around bigger cities, there'll be more. Like here in California, I'm in Northern California, but if I were to go south to bigger cities, like say Sacramento or the Bay Area, San Francisco, Southern California, like San Diego, I think has a lot of aquariums and, things like that. I'm just in Northern California. We're very rural. We're considered part of the Pacific Northwest. So we're not really like the rest of the state when people think of California. We're not populated like that up here.
That's what Toronto basically is for us. Like it's a denser, there's more people there, right? So there are more.
Yeah.
But other than that, there's not really any like big cities around us that.
Well, that's what makes you guys so cool though. Is that you who
Yeah.
successfully kept seahorses in areas where people aren't doing it. And no, it's not this big,
Well, it just shows you it's possible really wherever you are. I mean, especially with technology now, like you can find anything you need
Right.
online.
Mhm.
Yep. And you guys have both, or all three of you have been extremely successful, and and you're not in areas where it's happening all the time. So I think that's cool.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
It makes it harder in a way. Like I know that it's because it's nice that I'm trying to find more Canadian people, really, to be honest, because we had a lot of Americans, but we're lacking Canadians. Because I want to find more people around us. Like they don't even need to be in London; they can be in like more north. But I can't find anyone.
You will. Once you start having the fry and becoming successful, and you're raising the fry.
Just have to
You
teach
have to
people.
teach people. That's it. I mean, you have to understand though, Sophie, is what you're going through right now is what Ray went through back years ago when everybody said, you can't keep seahorses in tanks. Nope, can't do it. And that crowd, Dan, Ray, Cheryl, all of them, they had to go through. Nobody else was keeping them. Everybody thought it was impossible. And they went through the struggles and the figuring it out to do captive breeding. And then, all of a sudden it blew up, right? I mean, and it does once it's easier. Because that's the thing is that, if you can show, oh, you can do it, just follow these rules. Then it's
Everyone I sold to, other than Kelly and the fish store that I sold a few to, it was their first seahorses. Not only that, some of them their first saltwater
see,
tank.
that's so cool.
So, but it just anybody can do it. It's just a matter of learning how, like anything, and they're not that hard. It's just knowing how to do the
made
right
the
things
comment
for them.
that it's the problem is someone sets up a saltwater tank. They want to do everything, right? They want to do coral. They want to do clams. They want to do anemones. They want to do clownfish. They want to do all this stuff. And then they're like, oh my God, you can keep seahorses. This is so cool. I got to have seahorses. But then it doesn't work out because you can't keep them all.
The others.
Right.
Yeah.
So you have to love seahorses and want a seahorse tank. But
the seahorses tank to me is very simple compared to the reef tank. So you can have your reef tank and then do a little tank over here for your seahorses that's a lot simpler, and the seahorses will be happy.
I would completely swap what you just said. I would say have a big tank for seahorses and have a little coral tank on the side, right? Because coral
or that
and the
way.
fish, are just to each their own. But seahorses are magical, and once you keep them, they're like, I can't ever imagine my life.
They're like no other fish, personality wise. They're like little dogs, really.
And they have personalities, and they communicate with you, and can't imagine life without them. But Ray, how hard was it, figuring out how to keep seahorses in tanks and convincing others to do it the right way?
Oh boy, that's the one.
Loaded. It's the okay.
Well,
so wait, that was the last
convincing
question.
others that you were even doing it was the big thing.
Okay, what?
Convincing others that you were even doing it was the big thing back then.
Because you guys didn't have phones where you could post 20 pictures in 10 seconds. And
and when I got into it, that was still the era where we were just transitioning from the thoughts that they needed low flow
Right.
to the fact that they were needing more. So it was I got in at a transitional stage,
Sure.
and over the next 20 odd years, I've seen an awful lot of change and opinions that I started with. I guess most of my opinions back then were based on what people were telling me.
Mm-hmm.
But eventually, between my own experiences and then in talking with Dan all the time, Dan was a big help all the time. Like
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
there was one time Dan even picked up the phone and called me long distance from Florida here to London, Ontario, Canada, and we chatted for hours on his dime. Didn't bother him a bit. He couldn't sell me
Mm-hmm.
horses. I was not a prospective
Mm-hmm.
customer because he didn't sell out of
Mm-hmm.
the U.S. Didn't bother him at all. It was the hobby.
He just wanted to help
It was
you.
the hobby and the seahorses. Well, we both started at the same time, but he ended
Mm-hmm.
up. He made it his living, whereas I already had a business, and so I was doing this on the side.
But the thing is that you both loved it enough that you were trying to make a difference and trying to show and figure out how to keep them successfully and then share it with others. And you both
You know, but
made,
the big aid back then was the fact we had active forums, and
yes.
specifically for seahorses. And believe me, social media, Facebook, or any of
Uh,
these forums, they can't hold a candle to the way those forums helped us back then. Uh, the fact was, you can't go on social media and do a search and find a post that was helpful back
Mm-hmm.
so and so time, whereas you can do that with the forums.
well, I agree.
Seahorse.org really helped me the first
Hmm.
having the internet made a big difference for me because the very first time I tried to keep seahorses, it was 1989. And I think the computer I had back then, if I even had a computer, I think it used DOS. We didn't have like Windows and all that we have now. There weren't resources really for me online. So I was going by word of mouth from the fish store and old books that were like published in the 1960s, 1970s when people just didn't know enough. So it didn't go well. I had two seahorses that I'm pretty sure now looking back they were erectus seahorses, but I didn't really know how to take care of them. So they didn't last long. And I couldn't, like I said, I had no resources other than these old books and what the fish store was telling me, which was wrong.
Well, you know, when it comes to
My
books,
second
though,
go round was like 2007, 2008. I kept a pair of reed eye from Seahorse Source from Dan. And by then there was seahorse.org. There was more stuff online. So I was able to, learn more about them. And then this time around has been my most successful because I've had so many resources to help me online, like this group. I was able to use more current information and actually find it, online and by actually talking to Ray and Kelly and Dan and Cheryl, who've had all this experience. And it's been really invaluable. Back when I started in the 80s, you didn't have that, unless you knew somebody personally who was being successful in the hobby, you had no way to find out.
the hobby has changed fast enough so that in the early 2000s, even if somebody wrote a book, by the time it got published, it was outdated.
Mm-hmm. It's so funny now looking at the books that I have now. There's a couple I one was published, I think, in the 1950s.
Oh,
And it was kind of like Rick was saying, when he came on last week, and how he got started in seahorses was because he lived on the coast where they lived. So he was successful because he was providing them with fresh seawater that was clean, because the oceans were more clean back then. And that's kind of how it was in the books that I have. They talk about catching the seahorses' food, like these little grass shrimps that live on the coast, and giving them fresh, clean seawater. And that's how you took care of seahorses, back then. That was how they did it and were successful. But, times have changed, and we don't have, even people on the coast don't have access to fresh, clean seawater like they did back
Jan
then.
had to take his boat, and I don't remember now how far he went out, but he had to go out a long ways to be able to get the water that he needed to bring back to use.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Well, I would say that in a way, although like social media and everything does make it, you have a lot more information, but it's harder to, sort through it.
Just sift through it.
But in a way, you can, if you know what you're looking for, obviously you have to sift through it quite a bit more than you would have to back then. But I think it's a way of getting information out faster, right? You get more updates quicker.
Well, and you can connect with people.
Yeah.
Like you can connect with people like Ray and people like Cheryl and Dan and Kelly that have a lot of experience. When you find somebody that is talking, online about seahorses, and you're curious, if what they're saying might be true or not, you can ask them, how long have you been keeping seahorses? How long if they say 20, 30 years, you found somebody who probably knows their stuff. If they say 6 months, then what they're telling you, take it with a grain of
The biggest
salt.
problem is someone that has been doing it for 6 months will probably tell you a couple years.
That could be, but not necessarily.
People in general are not honest.
Yeah, but it probably kind of depends too on how you ask them.
The thing is that you can not all the time. I won't say all the time, but you can kind of verify the information. And because you can find a lot more about people online now, like you can find a lot about people. If you really want to get, I don't know, I didn't get a ton of my information from social media, but I have seen more information. And I am trying to share some information that comes like straight from you guys, right? Right. I don't know. No, it won't always be easy to find out, but we are, like, even at school, we're taught how to sift through information, right? Because it's become such a huge thing.
The forums are really pretty dead items now, but there still is a heck of a lot of good information on seahorse.org. And it's, well, some of it has, we've evolved past a lot of the information that's there. There still is searchable stuff that you can go to there, and you can always join up to seahorse.org. And if you have something that you have questions about, you can do a search for that topic, and tons of information is going to come up on all the different threads that have that pertinent information on, and you can search through there. And while it's not always someone posting that knows what they're talking about, you can get the gist of the information, and you'll get to know which people that are posting on there are posting factual information. So it's still a worthwhile thing if people want to pursue it. And as far as you mentioned about something about faster, you get information faster. Well, it was fast information on a forum too. You could post now, and usually a knowledgeable person would be replying that same day. Uh, and the problem here with the social media, you get all sorts of people replying, but 99% of them don't know much about what they're talking about.
Well, I would say that you can compare the two and say that really anyone can be hiding behind the usernames too, like
Yeah.
for forums. Now, you do learn who's giving you right information, right? I have seen a few of yours too, Ray, and it just, you can kind of tell when someone has more knowledge or not because they can do a lot more. But I would say, for example, I know there are people, that's how I found Rick as well. You start to follow them and you start to see kind of the information they are giving. Like,
Yeah.
is it all correct? And if you do some research and like kind of between people, you kind of compare the information, then
But
it's
if
just a different
somebody
way.
were to follow me just because they seem to think that I knew something about what I was talking about, that can be misleading too, because the way that I have done things over the decades is not the only way that people have succeeded. There have been others that do things different than what I have. I think basically most of us long-term keepers, there are always certain basics that we all pretty well go by. How we get there isn't always the same, and there may be some slight differences in that, but still, you don't want to stick to just one person because there may be a method that suits you personally better than what, say, what my methods would be.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, me myself, I would compare them just because I don't know. Growing up, social media is a much bigger thing, right, for my generation.
Yeah.
That's not to call you guys old. um, but yeah, because I find that after a while you kind of learn, and you do, because you follow more than one person. Obviously, you follow, like, I follow Bella Seahorse Beauties, and I follow Rick, and I follow what's his name, Demo. So you do get more information. Anyways, it's just kind of how you prefer to get the information. And definitely, I'm not saying that forums are bad, because they are definitely good. I did find a lot of information there. It's just that since we are kind of moving towards social media, it's just more updated. But definitely there is a lot on forums.
It's too bad there can't be laws that you can dictate to have posts that are factually incorrect removed.
Yeah. You can sometimes report it, but it doesn't go too far. Like,
Because everybody has a right to say what they want to say, whether it's right or wrong or even applicable to the topic. People have that right to say it, but it's just unfortunate that someone has the right to spread lies and so on any topic. I'm not talking about seahorses, about
Yeah.
anything.
Well, the stuff that's designed to trick you, like the AI stuff, that's coming out now too. That, I mean, as that develops and the technology gets better there, that can get really
yeah,
scary.
the AI has gotten really bad. Like, because it's used for everything now. Like, and you can
Yeah.
like pictures, for example, that sort of stuff, because a lot of people use it to be like, look what I did, but it's just AI. Generally, you can sort of tell, or like, okay, there are different levels of how well they do it.
At this point, yeah, you can. But like my husband says, what happens when it gets to the point where they're so good at imitating a person or whatever, they could make like a fake you, and get you in trouble. There's a lot to that as it develops and becomes more realistic.
My first rule of thumb on social media is if I look at the first few words in there, and if I have to click to find the rest of the story, like they'll say more in first
Yeah.
post or some stupid thing like that. General rule of thumb is if I have to click to get more factual information, other than the more button where the same story is continuing,
Yeah.
I refuse to do it. I never ever click on something like that.
Yeah. It definitely takes some navigating, and you have to be cautious of what you are clicking on or like reading and taking in, deciding it's good information. I prefer to just talk to people like that I know are like I
Exactly.
like talking especially to you guys, and I talk to Demo, right? And I talk very briefly with what's her name? Jill from Bella's Seahorse Beauties. Yeah, so it's just better to talk to someone that you actually know is
When I discovered this group actually on Seahorse Source,
Seahorse.
because I was using Seahorse Source's Facebook to get information because I knew Dan from Seahorse Source, and then that's how I found this group on there. And I joined at the time just because my seahorses were at a point where they were starting to have fry. And so I wanted to learn, what to do and how to take care of them. And that was something I couldn't really get, from a book or anything because everything was outdated. That I had. But I'm like, okay, I have this resource. There's these people out there that are experts. Let's see what they know.
Yeah. See, I think,
and luckily I found everybody.
I think Facebook is good for that because it's better than, like, for example, I think TikTok and Instagram, because they do have like communities, groups that you can actually talk to people. The other one it's a little bit annoying on Instagram that you can't really make groups with people.
And see, I don't use those two. I have an Instagram account. I don't even know my password anymore, but I never really got into that. Or any of the other ones.
I have nothing
I
except
got into Facebook really over dogs. My first social media was when I had my dogs. I joined a group that was like Facebook for dogs. And when they closed down, everybody moved to Facebook. And so to stay friends with my dog owner friends that I'd made, we all went to Facebook, and I'm still friends with those people, even though I don't have my dogs anymore. Yeah. So that's how I got to Facebook. My first social media account was something called MySpace. That was back, I want to say 2000 or the year 2000 or so, 2000, 2001. I had a MySpace account, and that was
I've never even heard of it.
It was a primitive form of Facebook.
Oh.
It was kind of similar, but you had your own page and you could post things you're interested in and pictures and things like that, but it didn't have the feed, like where you can see everything and everybody's stuff going on. You had to go look for somebody to see what they were doing.
See, I feel like that's kind of how it went. See, it went from like forums and discussions more and more towards like just scrolling through videos and like not really discussions anymore, just watching videos.
Everything's very fast now. That's what I don't like about TikTok, because they're so quick. And it's cool to watch something funny, some funny little video, but it's too fast for you to really learn or pick up on
That's
anything.
what's bothering me.
The short attention span that people have today.
I'm trying to make a video, but Instagram it gives me like creator tips, and it's like, keep it within like 3 to 5 seconds. I'm like, how am I supposed to do anything with that?
Right. There's a seahorse swimming from this hitch to that hitch, and
that's
that's it.
basically everything I can do. Other than like, I can do like a prompt and then be like, read caption. But then like, most people don't read the caption. So,
Right. They scroll the next
Yeah.
thing. Well, and there's so much now there, everything's gone commercial. It's Facebook is designed for business, really. Like for people to sell their stuff, and like you can have business accounts and things like that. So when you go to your feed and you're trying to see what your friends are saying or whatever, you're bombarded with ads for everything under the sun.
well, that's how people make money now. Through the ads.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm looking, Ray, I'm looking at the group that you sent me. For
Yeah, I didn't
saltwater
check it out. I just looked for something that there is a club, but it's not specifically a saltwater club. It's an aquatic club. And there's probably salt water involved with it, and there may be meets that you'll be able to do swaps with that club. But I didn't post it down there. But I figured you could always check out that link, and you might get a gist of what is available in the London area.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Yeah, this looks really good. Yeah, that's what because I have you guys as like an information community, but I also need like a physical community that I can trade with. I have been to some saltwater shows, but it's
Well,
it's
we
hard.
used to have a lot of meets, and especially in the summertime, but it wasn't limited to that. But that club eventually disbanded, mainly because nobody wanted to do the work, and it was always the same few people that were organizing it, and nobody was willing to step in and to help out or even take over if needed.
Yeah.
And I think that happens a lot of time with clubs.
Yeah.
Yes, for sure.
Well,
hopefully you'll find something there anyway.
Yeah, I will. I'll look
There's
through
got to
it.
be something, even if it is basically a freshwater organization. I can't believe that the saltwater people won't be involved with it, so that when there are meets, you can't be in the saltwater hobby without having stuff you want to sell, trade, whatever.
And we use a lot of the same equipment, fresh or salt water, you know. So
yeah.
And there might be more people like you that just think they have no one to talk to.
Yeah. Well, it has.
You find a way to get
it
together.
has like 730 members. I think I just closed the tab. But it has at least around 700 members. So I will.
That's a lot.
But active, there's probably only 200 or 300.
Yeah. That could be too, like if it says everybody, but
There's
a lot of people
200 or
aren't
300
there.
active members in a city of 450,000 or whatever we're at now. I guess we're a little under that, but that's not too bad.
Yeah, that's the problem. They just join and they don't really look at it. But I would like to also.
That sounds huge to me. 450,000 people.
Well, it's not. No, well, when you're looking at the millions that are in Toronto, 2 hours away from us.
Wow.
Yeah.
I don't think we have any cities anywhere near here that big.
Oh, you must have. There's all sorts of U.S. cities that are way bigger than Toronto.
Let's see. Well, not where I live, though. Let me see. My biggest city. Let's see what it is. I'm curious.
My dogs are looking around here.
Yeah.
Okay, so the big city nearest to me has 101,000 people. And that's the biggest city.
Sorry, how many?
In 101,000. That's the biggest city near me. and that's almost an hour.
Yeah, okay, that's
My city has, I think, 9,000.
oh,
And
so you guys are like tiny.
Sure, they
that's
call
the
that a
way
town.
Northern California is. Northern California is huge. We would take up probably a quarter of the East Coast. If we People don't understand how big my state really is and how spread out. Like there's a lot of people, but they're not here. They're like 6 hours away. It's a long drive to get to really populated
Yeah.
places in California. It's mostly rural and small towns that are spread out, acreage, mountains.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you know,
We have extreme landscape. I'm in, like, if you ever want to see where I live, like, look it up, see what it's like. It's the Sierra Cascades. I live in the space between the Sierra mountain range and the Cascade mountain range.
well, if you look on the map
So
of,
where I live is where like the Pacific Crest Trail comes through. Very rural, very rugged, and as Kelly would say, scary when you're driving. she When I picked her up from the Sacramento airport and we drove her up here, she's like clinging to the door handle of the car, and she's like, don't they have guardrails here? And I'm looking at her like, you haven't seen nothing yet. We're not even on the edge, driving on the edge of a cliff yet, but
well, you think
you
you
will
think
be.
it's rarefied there type of thing, but if you look at a map of North America, I don't know what the actual dimensions are, like our land mass of Canada compared to the U.S. land mass. But when you look
It's
at it,
pretty
it looks
big.
pretty close, and yet you have 10 times the population we have here in Canada.
Yeah, well, if you go,
We do, but it's condensed. Like I say, it's not all where I am. There's millions of people in Southern California.
Well, where
Where I
Flippy and I
live,
live
it's thousands.
in Ontario is the heaviest population of Canada.
yeah, if you go north,
I can believe that because I have friends from Canada. I have a friend with dual citizenship, and my family came from Canada. Actually, originally they migrated from Canada,
Maybe they
but
want to move
I'm
back
on
now.
the western side, not the eastern side, and I think the western side of Canada has way less population than you guys do, if I'm not mistaken.
yeah,
I wouldn't
it's
know.
just it's spread out like differently. You guys, yeah, you live in I think that you guys have like a lot of really, really big cities. We have like
In
some big cities.
certain places,
We have some
yeah.
big cities, but if
California
you go
does.
north in Canada, like it's freezing and there's no one there.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's how the Pacific Northwest is like that. There's a few big cities, but like I said, we're in um places that are hard for people to live because it's mostly like mountain ranges, thick forests. So we don't have the denser population that the southern part of the US has.
You're like, this looks
Or
really nice
east.
where you live.
Yeah. So if you look up where I am, my town is called Magalia, California.
How do you spell that?
It's Magalia. And we're basically where the gold rush happened in California and where the immigrants came through.
Oh wow.
Because we have a lot of resources here. We have big lumber, gold, minerals. The fur trade was a big deal here when immigrants first came. It was like the Russian fur traders and and things like
Oh,
that.
you live in the middle of nowhere.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's why, like I said, I don't here aquarium keeping is not a big thing. But horses, real horses are.
Yeah. Well,
A lot of people keep actual horses
yeah.
and things like that. But so most stuff like last few weeks, what I've been doing is a lot of hiking and stuff. So I go to Lassen National Park, is within a couple hours drive from me. Mount Shasta. So I've been hiking up on Mount Shasta, Lassen. So yeah, I have a lot of great places to explore, basically in the mountains and the woods. You can go mountain climbing here, all kinds of neat. Yosemite is in the middle part of the state, so it's farther south than me. Lake Tahoe is about a 3-hour drive from me, but it where I live is beautiful. It's a beautiful part of the country. But yeah, less seahorse hobbyists here for sure.
Yeah, that's literally the middle of nowhere. But do you see the mountains? Or do you live like
Within a half an hour drive, ask Kelly. I can be on a mountain road in the middle of nowhere. I can take back roads and cut across on dirt roads through the mountains and get to like beautiful lakes. And I took Kelly on a little tour of my area. Like I said, scared her to death sometimes because we're driving on the edge of mountains and canyons.
Well, I can
But
only imagine. I mean, you think that's normal, but
yeah, that's what, and I never thought about it because I grew up here. But Kelly from Indiana is used to everything being flat. And there's a gas station store on the corner of my street here, and we stopped there for ice and stuff one morning before we went for a drive, and it turns out that the lady that works the counter at the gas station here is from Indiana.
oh,
And when Kelly told her that, she laughed, and because Kelly was telling her about how scared, she says, "Do you get scared driving?" And she's all, "I don't drive here. I have my son drive me around." So they could relate to each other. But for me, I grew up here, so I'm used to driving twisty mountain roads and stuff, so I don't really think about it.
yeah.
But Kelly, until Kelly pointed it out, I'm like, yeah, I guess if you've never been, where there's mountain roads and you're not used to canyons and things, then yeah, I guess it would be scary.
Yeah. Well, do we have like much more?
As I say, is there any seahorse
Yeah.
questions? I see Salty's asking about live food, and honestly, the only time I ever use live food is when I'm raising fry.
Yeah, me too. I don't.
My erectus seahorses, they eat frozen mysis, and that's it.
Yeah. I would only if like I have been people have recommended, you guys have recommended to me a few times if like I want to use them as like enrichment sometimes to get them ready for like fry or whatever. But like other than that, if you're worried about having to give them live food, like you don't have to give them live food unless you're raising fry.
Yeah, you don't need to. They can live on frozen mysis alone and be fine. It's more like if you're trying to condition them for breeding and fatten them up somehow, that, because they're not doing, then maybe use live food. But honestly, I never feed live food. Since I was raising fry, I haven't used live food at all.
Yeah, I don't use it for my seahorses either.
I was raising live food long before I got into seahorses, so to me it didn't make any difference. But
Yeah, it was a natural thing for
Well, I
you.
used to sell to stores around here. Uh,
Hmm.
there, there wasn't any real access to live brine shrimp around here. Occasionally, there would some be shipped in from the U.S., but that wasn't a regular
Hmm.
basis. So I got into raising the brine shrimp, and I was doing it in 26-gallon garbage pails.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, I would say, like,
Yeah.
if you do have it set up for them, I think that's great that you can feed them live. But
yeah, but that
otherwise,
didn't stop me from. I
I
still used the frozen mysis for the seahorses.
mhm.
I can,
I saw something interesting a few days ago. I just thought of, since we're talking about food, and I mostly want to ask Ray about this because there were some people talking about they're feeding their dwarf seahorses frozen mysis shrimp. And the dwarfs are eating it, but somebody made the comment that you have to use the frozen mysis as a supplement to their live
yeah,
food because they won't get enough nutrition from the frozen mysis. So I wanted to see if you had a
it has
take
nothing
on
to
that.
do with mysis and the level of nutrition of mysis. It has to do with the fact they will not eat enough because they're just they don't have the drive to go for frozen food, and they
Hmm.
won't eat enough of it. And also, if you feed them exclusively uh, just frozen food, whether it's brine shrimp or the mysis or whatever, uh, they they just won't eat enough of it to even stay alive for long. So anybody that tells you they're keeping it dwarfs long term on frozen foods is lying.
Yeah, I haven't seen any. Nobody said that they were doing it long term. They were all talking about that they would eat
Some
it,
will.
but they weren't keeping them on it. They said you can't keep them on frozen mysis. You have to feed them live food, but they will eat frozen mysis. And I had never heard that before or really ever thought about it. I don't keep dwarfs, but I
It is
belong to a
sporadic.
dwarf seahorse forum, and they were talking about that.
But in addition to the fact that they're just not inclined to go for something that's not live,
Mhm,
there's the fact that
mhm,
they are also not inclined to hunt for their foods, which means you have to keep that frozen food in suspension so that it goes by where they're
mhm,
perched on their hitch and be able to snick it up
mhm,
without leaving that perch. That doesn't mean that
mhm.
dwarfs don't do some hunting. It's just not their thing, though, really.
But they won't get enough of it. So do you think it's actually nutritious enough for them if they would eat it? Do you, or is the nutrition profile totally different than brine shrimp?
Well, the profile of mysis is different than brine shrimp. With brine shrimp, you don't have any fatty acid, and so you have to have a way to supply that DHA. And with frozen food,
Mhm,
you can't do it because if you soak any frozen food in an enrichment, uh, it's not going to actually permeate the flesh to any great degree. And when you put it in the water, it's going to wash off and just follow the water, which means your dissolved
uh-huh.
organic level is going to go up and not really enrich whatever's going to eat them. So uh, people keep on trying. Uh, I personally haven't seen anybody successful keeping dwarfs on frozen foods.
Yeah, okay. So if you don't want to feed live, do not get dwarf seahorses. They will not. So you're supposed to feed them the same thing that you feed the fry? Like,
Well, yeah, well, the fry
Yeah,
will eat the same food that you're feeding the dwarf.
yeah. And the dwarfs can live in the same tank. Like when you're keeping dwarf seahorses, you don't have to separate the babies like we do with the rectus fry. They all live in the same place and
That's
eat the
because the
same food.
adults are just like fry in the beginning.
Yeah, they're just so tiny. But that's why I was surprised they were eating frozen mysis, because to me, frozen mysis, well, most of it is kind of big, So I'm like, but I remember my fry, the rectus fry, taking on the giant mysis shrimp when they were little, and they'd choke it down. It'd be bigger than their head, and they could still eat it. So maybe dwarfs are like that too.
Anyway, folks, I'm going to call it quit for tonight. So
Yeah, I was just going to ask if anyone had any more questions or comments.
Yeah, it's getting to be that time, isn't it?
Yeah. Is Kelly still here, or do we just...
I see her, but I don't know if she's here. Are you here, Kelly?
Can you close it from there?
Kelly's here.
Can you close it from there, Sophie?
No, wait. I'd have to go. Yes, I will.
I think
if Kelly does not leave or do anything, I will shut it down. Hold on. I would need to sign on from.
Well, we can all sign off, and that effectively ends it anyway.
Well, yeah, but Kelly isn't signing out, so she's just going to be.
Yeah, because she'd still be there all by herself, unless she shuts hers down too.
Hold on. Let me. Sorry, guys. I got to open Restream. Let's see if this works. I was having some issues because I have to open Chrome. I was having some issues with it earlier. No, it's working now.
Well, while you're working on that, I'm just going to sign off. Sorry.
All right, Ray. Well, good night. It's nice to see you. We'll see you next week.